I'm just going to hit the highs of what you had in your reading. This does not replace the reading, but I want to help direct and reinforce what you may have seen in there. I want to start off with the quote: God inspired and guided the whole process of developing the scriptures, because that's really what this set of readings is about today. And those glowing icons down there are kind of messing with me, so try not to focus on those too much. A few things. One is that you saw the process of scriptural development, that it moved from the scripture passages that were straight historical events occurred. It was passed down through oral tradition over time. And so that's important to recognize, that there was a period of understanding, of collaboration, of discussion by which elders or those who were older in society likely told these stories, and that they passed on over generations before they were written down, some a century or two after they occurred, and some even a little bit longer than that. Now, before we move on to the next step, it's important to recognize that when we consider revelation and divine inspiration in all of this, we are not saying that it has been distorted to no longer be true over time. Rather, God continues to work not only in the authors who at the next step put that to written word, but also in those people who are engaging in the oral tradition, that God is present alongside them and in their hearts to ensure that the message stays religiously or divinely true. So it's written down, it's edited as it's compiled, and that's, one thing as we talked about, for instance, in the creation accounts, you've got those two different accounts of creation because it's been edited together. They're saying slightly different things, but the same religious truth of God being an all-powerful, all-loving God who made us in his divine image and likeness. And then ultimately, obviously, then it's compiled into this Bible, into the Bible, I should say. And there's a uniqueness to this in that not all books of the Bible follow this exact set path. For instance, as the reading points out, they mention that the epistles or letters of St. Paul were just straight written down. It wouldn't have made sense if he had orally given those and then those letters were dictated. No, those were actually like as they were written. And so they don't all follow the same path. But that's the general development of the books back then. Hopefully you notice this, and if not, make sure to include this in your notes for the day, is that inspiration means to breathe into. And so we talk about the Bible being divinely inspired. This kind of harkens back to the one creation account, if you remember, God breathing life into humanity, into the human male and the human female, that in this way, God too is breathing his life, image, likeness into human beings through the Bible, that they're being divinely inspired, they're being breathed into, and then humans with all of our weaknesses are pouring that forth onto the page into written word. Now, it may have challenged you a little bit, and I hope you'll continue to grapple with this idea of religious truth compared to historical or scientific truth, that's saying Genesis, regardless of whether this is scientifically or historically true, which most scholars would say it's not, is intended to communicate a religious truth. And I emphasize some of those, and those are also included kind of in big thematic ways at the end of your chapter. And that even as there are different contexts by which those gospels are written, as they talk about the nativity scene between the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Luke, that there is still profound religious truth there that are just emphasizing certain things for specific audiences. And then finally, make sure you pay a key attention to those big themes and messages at the end of the chapter. We'll try to dive into those a little bit in the coming week or two as we begin to move into the last part of Unit 2. Those are the main highs of this reading. But again, that does not replace the reading. You'll need more details than what I talked about. But hopefully that guides and reinforces the things you picked up.